All right, great guys. So tonight's class, we're going to talk about, as you see here in the title here, the M and W patterns and how to win trades. And so this ran across my mind because I was looking at one of our IM educators, which was Orrin Wright. And I know a few of us have checked out Orrin Wright, and he does the head and shoulders pattern. And so it's a little different from here, but this is really the foundational piece that goes to the head and shoulders structure that will help you trading. Now, David, I'm going to talk to you a little bit because I know you're the newest person. So I really like to simplify things so that people can get it. And that's what I needed getting on. And then, of course, Celestine, she's new. I don't want you guys to be intimidated with this information. This is just another building block that you're going to learn that's going to really help you dial in your trading. And so with that, you know, this goes back to some of the basics that we forget. And I know someone like me and Miss Deborah Bloomfield, she has done excellent, guys. I'm telling you, she is, I can't remember how young she is. I know she's, you know, in the 60 plus range, but at the same time, you know, she had a phenomenal day. She had a $7,000 day, over $11,000 that she made in a week's time. And I know Miss Deborah is like, you know, don't put me on the spot like that. But, you know, the reason why I use her is, number one, there's some nuggets with Miss Deborah that I love, just being a great student of this skill. And the thing was, guys, is it really didn't matter about how much money she started with. It was more so that she was dedicated to learning. She's always a student. Guys, she's always on every one of these calls. She always studies her videos. She always goes and watches an educator. And then she'll call me up and tell me about how her progress is. And then we're going to go ahead and tweak some things. So, you know, and it didn't happen overnight. I'm going to tell you now, she didn't have that success right overnight. I know she really kind of studied for some months. And then it finally kind of started clicking for her. And so I'm so proud of her, because it doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your disability, doesn't matter your education level, doesn't matter about any of that, where you live, where you're going, all that other stuff. You can master this skill if you put the time into it. And time doesn't mean that you got to spend 10 hours a day. Doesn't mean that. If you can spend, you know, anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes a day or every other day practicing in your demo account, taking notes, watching the education, then you can be a winner in this trading spot. Now, do we lose trades? Absolutely. But the goal is that you're winning more than you're losing. Okay? If you're winning more than you're losing, then you're in profit mode. Okay. And that's really what the goal of Team Wealth is. I want everybody to be profitable as a trader. Okay. You, and I like to use, you are really an investor. Okay. You're an investor investing your money, that's also a risk manager. So you're a risk manager that happens to be an investor. So what I'm teaching you here is different ways to manage your risk. Okay. When you manage your risk, you're going to lose less and you're going to win more. Okay. And so the whole thing with the M&W patterns, let me go ahead and get into this and why this is so crucial to learning these two letters right here will definitely change the whole trajectory of how you're looking at your trading. Okay. And so the reason why I brought this up, and again, just to go back to what I was talking about earlier, is that a lot of times we're looking at a trade, we're concentrating on a trade, and we're trying to gamble. Is this a buy? Is this a sell? Well, I jumped in. It's not going the way I want to. So, of course, we go through our support, our resistance, our trend line. But see, there's another piece to this, and that is the candles are speaking to you. Okay. And I forget it. I'm telling you right now, guys, I'm notorious at forgetting it. And that's why when I did this, when I came across this, I said, oh my God, you know what? This is a piece that has been hiding right between our eyes. Because a lot of you that have been on, if you've been studying, let's say you've been in for about a year. Okay. You've been in looking at this for 12 months. You know about the patterns, but you really don't put emphasis in your trading looking at the patterns. And I wonder why, because that is why we're going to win a lot of trades. Okay. So let me go ahead and jump into this. Let's get going. So what is the M that I talked about? This is called a double top. All right. A double top. So let me go ahead and explain this. So what happens when you're looking at the market, guys, the buyers, okay, the bulls are taking over in the trade. So they're buying. So what happens, this will be blue candles going up. Okay, it'd be blue, 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 blue. And then for some reason it reaches a certain point, and then the momentum or the energy changes, and the sellers or we also call it the bears, are fighting the bulls. Okay, they're fighting for power, and then all of a sudden it rejects. So we call this area up here at the top an area of rejection. Okay, so just think of it as like the ceiling of your home. You can't go that far. You're rejected from going through the roof. Okay, so it's rejection up there. All right, and so then it comes back down, and then it comes and hits a middle point. And then, of course, the buyers take over again, fighting to push the market back up in their direction, and it goes back up again. And then, of course, the sellers finally take over, and then it completes this second part, which is that part of the M. All right. So this is what we also call a double top. All right. An M pattern or a double top. Real simple. Okay. And I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show many examples of this so you guys can start training your eyes to this. Because I promise you, if you can find these M's and W's in the market, you are going to do tremendous in your trading. And for some of you, I know some of you are looking for the magic strategy, the magic candles, the magic this, and really it's right there in front of you, and we're missing it because you know what, we're too busy looking at all these little tiny details when really the candles are already speaking to you, telling you what's going on into the market. All right, so this is called a double bottom or a W. All right, and so same thing right here, the sellers, or which would be those red candles, the bears are pushing price down, and it goes down, 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 down. And all of a sudden the buyers say, hey, 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 we want to start buying because the currency is extra cheap. We're going to start buying. And then it pushes the market back up, and it gets to a midpoint, and then it pushes back down, and it rejects. Again, this is the area of rejection, and rejection means that it just doesn't go past that point. Okay. And then of course it pushes back up, and it continues up in an uptrend. Okay. So this is the W. That's all it is. Double top, double bottom, M's and W's, M's and W's. That's all we're going to be looking for. Okay. So now here's a question. What time frames can you find these patterns? Well, guess what, guys? You can find these patterns on any time frame. You can do this on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15, the 30, the hour, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, the yearly. Okay, doesn't matter. But here's some key points for you to know. For some of you who are thinking, can I, should I be a scalper? Should I be a swing trader? Should I be an intraday trader? Well, just know that the bigger, and this goes across the board anyway, the bigger the time frame, okay, the more reliable or dependable the support and the resistance of the pattern. So I'm going to show you about these rejection areas, which is called support and resistance. Okay, so for some of you who are just going through the academy, you're going to learn about that. But basically, the resistance is just the very high point that you see the market go to, the high price, and then the support is the low price. And what we do is we trade in between that high and low price. That's all support and resistance is. Okay. Of course, the higher the time frame, the more pips that you're going to acquire when you're looking at these patterns. All right. All right. So now let me break it down to how do you trade this? How do you actually trade? And so I want you guys to get the essence of how you use these patterns. So what happens is you're looking at the market, and there's blue candles, and it goes up. Boom, 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 boom. It goes all the way up. And then all of a sudden it goes there. Like I said, it rejects somewhere in this area and comes back down. Okay. Then it comes to this area, come back up, and come back down. So now when you look and see a pattern like this, what you're going to do is you're going to place a stop loss above the peaks of the candles. Okay, that's your area. And remember, the stop loss is to protect you. Now, a lot of people get mad. Oh my God, my trade hit the stop loss. And some people say that I don't trade with a stop loss. But here's the thing. Again, a stop loss is to prevent you from losing a large amount of money. Okay, I'm so guilty of it. I fell asleep on a trade, looking at it, staring at it. It looked good. It was pulling back a little bit. Oh, it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around. I'm not going to put a stop loss because all my other indicators tell me it's going to turn around. I'm watching it. I fall asleep. Man, next thing I know, you waking up thinking, and I know that little feeling in your heart is you want to look at your phone. You grab your phone on the side of your nightstand. You pull up your MetaTrader 4, and you're like, blue, blue, blue. Blue, I want to see blue, blue. And then all of a sudden I don't see the trade, so I'm not still in the trade. So now you really kind of like, man, what happened to the trade? So now you're scared to go back to your history. But you look at your balance was $1,000, you're now down almost $400. Okay, because you just decided I wasn't going to put a stop loss in. I thought it was going to turn around. And that was $400 that you didn't necessarily have to lose because you could have stopped the bleeding is what I call it. And so what you want to do is stop the bleeding, reassess where you are, And if it starts to go the other direction, guess what? You've already got out the trade because it hit your stop loss. Well, guess what? If you verify your confirmations and you start going the opposite direction, just jump on the elevator and go the other direction, and you're going to gain the money back that you got. Okay. But here is the effective way that you're going to trade a double top. All right. You're going to get in, and I'll show you. You put your stop loss above here. You're going to wait for this side of the M to form, and you want it to match up to the middle point. Okay. You want to match to the middle point. When it matches to the middle point, you're going to enter right here where this green line is, and you're going to write it down for the sell, for the red candles. That's what you're looking for. It was going blue candles here. It starts red. Okay. So what's the psychology behind this? Obviously, this point where it turned around, this could be a possible point of rejection, or it could be a support area. Okay, where it will turn around again. So you want to verify that it passes this point before you get in, because you don't want to assume that it's a sell, or that you jump up here too early. It comes down here, kicks you out, and then you're like, oh man, okay. You definitely can trade this part of the M, okay, but a lot of times you're going to catch more down here on the bottom, because you're going to confirm it's going to really go into a stronger trend. Okay, it's going to go into a stronger trend. So that's what a M pattern looks like. Let's look at this also. Okay, so now this is something that I discovered, guys, is that there's usually a direct correlation, or a one-to-one risk to reward ratio from the top and the bottom. So what I mean is, right here at the top, when you look at this trade, when the M starts and you ride it down here and you're watching it to see if it's going to be a true M pattern, when it goes down here, whatever the amount that this is, which is, let's say it was 40 pips from the top to the bottom, and you enter at this green line, then you can look at a one-to-one ratio, because most likely it's going to be a 40 pip take profit down here. That's pretty good, guys. So that's kind of, hey, if it's 20 pips or 30 pips, then most likely you can get 30 pips down here. Okay. That's not me making it up, guys. This is, just hundreds of thousands of traders that trade these patterns on a regular basis. This is the correlation that they find. Okay. That it's got to complete, the part here and go down into the trend. All right. So now, all right, so that's that part. And it's the same for a W pattern. If you flip it the other way, it's the same one-to-one. Actually, that's not the minimum, but that's usually the range that you can go ahead and get your take profit. And obviously, it can go much farther than that. But I just say you can at least expect that whatever this side of the M is, okay, or the W, that you're going to be able to get or clear these amount of pips here on the bottom side. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the actual patterns itself on the chart. All right, so we're going to close that. All righty, let's get started. All right, guys, so I decided in my quarantine time I was going to already mark my chart, so I would already have it ready, so I don't have to, waste too much time. And so I found some patterns here on a 1 hour so that I can show you other patterns. Am I already over? Let's see. Oh, I already did good. All right, I came over there already. All right, so let me start back over here. This is USDJPY. I picked this because we're kind of in that area. So right here, you can see we found a pattern. Let me go ahead and shrink it down. Where are ya? Always reset. Okay, there we go. All right, so I kind of wanted to bring that here. So here's kind of a big range here. So what was happening is it reached a peak up here, all right, and it came down. Of course, it was in a downtrend. That was great. But then it reaches this point here, and you're like, man, is it going to continue downward? Well, down here is where we start to see the M pattern. It came here, touched up here, came to the middle part, came up here, came down. So now the whole question is, well, where would I get in? And how do I set this up for a trade to win for us? Ooh, 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 ooh. Come on back. All right, let's see. Where you at, trade? Sorry, guys, don't mean to get you all dizzy here watching me. All right, so. Okay, so as we said here, what I'm looking for is the pattern goes up, it rejects or turns around in this area, comes down, rejects down here at the support, comes back up, comes to this resistance. The resistance is the top, comes back down, and guess what? We're not going to enter until we pass this middle point. So we're going to wait because you see that it turned here. So you probably would have got scared, like, oh, wait a minute now. Let's see what's going on. But see, once it came and passed this point on this candle here is where we would get in. This one that closed underneath this green candle. Now, once it starts, okay, this is a doji candle or a little top right here where it's the body's there, the top, the bottom is long. It shows a lot of pressure that's moving in this direction, but also a little indecision of where it's going. But this next red candle that forms lets us know, oh, this thing is continuing downward. So I would get into this one. And what I did is I measured the top between here and here, which is really 38 pips. And down here to here, I could set a take profit for 38 pips or 40 pips. And over here, as you see, come on. All right, let's get that together. So down here, I could set a take profit and it hits this orange line. So that's why I have the orange line. So the red line is where I would put my stop loss, okay, which is above the peaks there. My entry is right at this midpoint, the middle of the M or the middle of the W. And then my take profit could be down here. And of course, you could do like some of you are learning to do now, you put a trailing stop loss. Okay, so once it goes into profit, once it came down here and it kept on going, you could just put a trailing stop loss, and guess what? It would have kept going down, and the further it kept going down, you would just ride it down all the way down here. Okay, so that's one pattern right there. Let me see where I found another one. I gotta go back. All right, so here's another pattern I found. Let me stretch that out a little bit. Now, M's and W's aren't always perfect, but look, here's a W pattern here. Let me blow this up. All right. Oop, I had this one backwards too. Sorry, guys. When Zoom and TradingView get together, they kind of mess with each other electronically here. So that was my first. And my second trade. There we go. All right, let's stretch it out and make it look good. Okay, so I'm not going to move a lot here. But what happened is, you see, it came down here. It touched this point. It was rejected in this point. Came back up to this midpoint here. Came down. It looked like some news or something happened, and it pushed the market down. But it also made that second leg of the W, and then it came on up. And so this is reversed. Actually, where the green is, that would be my stop loss, and my entry would be where the red line is. So as soon as I crossed this red line, I could have jumped in for a buy, and look, it would have rolled me on up. And again, it would have got me some pips there. Let me see if it'll let me measure. It's been kind of hard to measure, but let's see. Yeah, it's not totally right, but at least over 100 pips right there. Oops, 194. Okay, so good. So roughly about 194 pips if I just rolled that on up. Okay, so for some of you who are on the team, you know we follow a growth chart, and just imagine if we were going 10 at a time. Okay, if you roll this up and you saw this pattern, now out of 100, let's just say 180, how many times could you have gotten into this trade to get your 10 pips? Could have been in here 18 times. So for some of you, if you look at your growth chart, wherever you're starting at, just look where 18 times could have put you on your growth chart. That will put you somewhere in the neighborhood. Let's say if you're just starting with $100 with a 10% growth on each trade, you should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $60,000. somewhere in that neighborhood within 18 trades, probably a little more than that. You should be close to 6 figures almost, just compounding it, going 10 pips at a time. Okay. So now let's look at, let me switch something up. Let me see. I think I wrote another, I think I saw another pattern here. Let me just double check. I've been writing a couple. All right, I'll just go back to where we were in the beginning, and I'm going to show you a simple way that you can start looking for these patterns, because you're like, Shawn, I don't know if I can see these things. What you talking about? So I'm going to show you a cheat. You know, I always got a cheat to this thing. Help y'all out. So, okay, where's my, there we go. I'm looking for that. So, all right, you see candles now. Let's go ahead and switch it to lines. I switch it to a line. What do y'all see? Y'all see an M. Look at there. Let me move these out the way. Okay. So you can actually use a line chart and you can start marking out your M's. Okay. And that's how you start finding them. And after a while, your eyes will train to that. I challenge everybody that's on this call. Now, this isn't perfect, but this is a W. It's just spaced out. And a lot of times, guys, it won't be perfect. Sometimes one side of the M or the W will be higher than the other or lower than the other. And sometimes when it's higher or lower, it actually means that it'll probably be in a deeper trend. You know, if this was a little longer, obviously, you know, to get to the midpoint because it was higher, then you'll get a deeper or bigger trend once you enter. So that's a good thing. Okay. So M and W patterns, that's really kind of it, you know, just to keep it simple. And then you want to go in the market. So I'm going to look at it. I want you guys to mention a couple pairs and we're going to see what we can find. Okay. Yep. She said, I love trading with a line chart. Excellent. Excellent, Ms. Mindbender. Love it. Okay, cool. Somebody name a pair out and we'll take a look at it. Don't be shy. What are y'all looking at? What are you guys trading? Anything? All right, I'm gonna wait till y'all participate.
I was in this Ashley.
Okay.
Hey, I was still looking at the USD CAD.
Okay, USD CAD. Okay, let's see, USD CAD. Okay. All right, let's see, USD CAD. Oh, didn't change. USD CAD. All right, cool. So let's see here. Let's see if we see some M patterns that kind of, let's see. I kind of see that one. That one looks kind of, let's see. Oops.
It's a little M within that M that you're creating.
Yeah. So, and I'll just put the line where it could be a possible entry. Okay. So, all right. So not perfect, but that's kind of right there. So let's switch to candles. See how that came up? It kind of looked a little ugly, but it went up, kind of touched here, right there, second part. Boom, came down, could have jumped in there at that entry once it passed this level. Boom, I would have caught this right here. You know, that on a 1 hour chart, that was almost 260 pips. That's on a 1 hour. Okay. I told you, I'm going to show you how you get 50 pips.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not always perfect, but you know, when you start looking for them, it'll start to come. Let's see if we find something cleaner.
Shawn,
Yes.
Okay, on the one that we just did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I was looking at was the smaller M and the smaller W. Do we not look for the little ones, but look more so for the bigger ones?
You know, you can. You're just gonna have to kind of look. Let's see. So let's see. So
When you
I'm
had the lines,
assuming.
you could clearly see a M and a W.
So you could go here. You're talking about like 1 point here, here
Mm-hmm.
as a
Yeah.
W. And you know what? That kind of gets close to, it's close. It's not really a head and shoulders, but it's kind of like it comes up as a shoulder. Then this could be a head. This could be another shoulder. That also is another pattern. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's the same thing. So it's kind of what you said. It could be that. Um, Either way, you got a couple points here. You know, it could have been, let's see. Do, 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 do.
So is it easier to look for the bigger ones like you did before versus?
It's just, it didn't have to be anything about big or little. It could be right there. Oops, there we go. All right. Could have been that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been that. Same thing. Came here. You still wouldn't have entered until after you passed this point where this bottom line. So either way, you would have gotten somewhere over here. Okay.
So
Could have
when we
came
see
down.
the M or the W, we wait for the next long candle or the next, big candle.
You're gonna wait to wherever you pass this midpoint. Okay.
When
It's
you
the
get in the
middle of
middle.
the M
Okay,
or
got it.
W that you get in.
Got it. Got it. Now
So
I
it could have
understand.
been, yeah, this candle could have been down here because you want to make sure it doesn't reject in the same place it rejected over here in the middle.
Okay.
You want to continue to go down, and you would have caught these pips down here.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Makes sense now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Ask
Thank you.
away, guys. We want to try to get it. Let's see. Let's see. It's almost a W. Yeah, that's will help. I need to stretch it out a bit. Let's see. Okay, that was continuation. That head and shoulder, no. And guys, I mean, I could be overlooking too. I'm moving kind of fast, but I kind of like to.
Hey Sean, what's the best time frame to look at these M and W patterns?
Anytime,
Hour or 1 hour?
anytime. Could be on a 1 minute. Could be. Let me see. Let's get on a 5 minute. Let me reset this chart. I'm gonna reset everything. Actually, let's pick another pair. Let's do odd JPY because it's moving now. Let's see. All right, let's move all the way over. All right, let's erase all that. And let's switch to a line. Let's see. So now this is a pattern, but it's still choppy. And it did turn around coming this way. So, does take some practice. I mean, I'm just kind of glancing. This is kind of one. The peak isn't as deep up here. Let me see. Not too bad. So that could possibly be. See, so that's a pattern that you could use, and then you could enter over here. So you would look at entering, whoops, somewhere over here. Okay, you guys kind of see that? So it's an M. It did pull back there, but it kind of complete. I just wait until it kind of comes underneath and breaks here. And then look, it actually did continue down. If I switch it to candles, see, so it broke here. There was a gap in the market, but it ended up continuing and going here. So you would have caught these pips right here, which that would have been pretty nice. That's on a, this is on a 5 minute. You can't see it, Betty? Did you mean on this one or?
It's in a small corner.
What, the chart?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else can't see it? See the pattern? Is my screen not showing correctly?
It's good. I can see it.
You can see it? Okay.
It's not big like it was.
Oh, let's see. That better? Whoops,
Yeah.
that's too big. Let's see. Okay. Where am I at? Okay. There was one pattern. I wasn't the same one. Excuse me. Okay, here's the gap. There you go.
Can you turn it around, Shawn, or is it me? I mean, I'm just seeing, I see you, but the chart is not all the way on.
What you mean?
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at it, but it's in a small, the chart is in your small right corner.
Small right corner? Now my whole page is oops.
Yeah, I can see the whole thing. Maybe click on it or something.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, let me get back to where I was. Trading pound. You Betty got me pushing stuff.
I'm sorry. I mean, I don't
No,
know.
I'm just playing. There we go. Okay, cool. Now this is stretched out on my whole screen.
Okay. I just did it. I flipped. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. So yeah, so it was a pattern that came up here, had a little high part, came down here. It kind of, jumbled here, but I still would have looked at it to enter over here once it passed this middle area. So let's see if we can find anything else. Yeah, this could be considered W.
John,
Yes.
a little off subject. Why didn't it fill in the gap?
Oh, that was probably a break in time. That was when the market closed this weekend.
Oh, and when it opened back up on Sunday, it just started at a new point instead of closing the gap?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Shawn, I think I see one on Euro JPY.
Okay.
1 hour.
Cool. So you see
Forming
this
right now.
point? Oh, cool. Let me fix this one just so you know. All right, so you guys see this one? This is the W pattern. I would have entered, over, after this area here. Okay, which means I could have gotten over maybe on this candle, either this candle probably right here, because it broke higher than this middle point. So you could have got here and rode it on up. Did that move? Let me see. Oh, that was my old pattern. Okay, I'm saying like, did I miss something? Okay, cool.
I was about to say that looks really good.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. All right, sorry guys, moving the chart. Let's reset everything. All right, which one was that you said you saw?
Euro JPY.
so this one may be
I'm on-
starting.
I'm on a 1 hour.
Ah, thanks. Cool.
Yeah, right there.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. And of course. And so you'll look for an entry. Move that one. So you look for an entry once it breaks above this area right here to go on up. And how high would you go? You probably go right up to here. So you have all this right here to get your pips. And this right here is 127 pips. Good look. So y'all write that down, Euro JPY. And what you want to do is you want to look for this part right here, 119.678. If it breaks this area and starts going above, it's on the 1 hour. Hopefully be on this ride up. You can catch you these 100 pips right here. Okay. If anything, though, it may, I'll just say this, at least up to this first point. So let's say we were on something like the harmonic scanner. This would have been, you know, an entry line here where I have my first green line. This would have been take profit 1. This would have been take profit 2 up here. Okay. So just from take profit to go from here, this first green line to the second, that's still about 50 pips right there. And then another, you know, up here to 129, 26 pips. So about 50 and 50, you know, somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay. So write that one down. Take a look at it. For those that, if you use call levels, you could set a call level here at this price, 119.678. And what it does, guys, is it'll alert you on your phone that, hey, Euro JPY hit this price. And then you can look at it and say, oh, this thing's going up. Well, let me jump in and try to ride that up. So it's called call levels. App on your phone, you can add it and you can put in a pair and it'll alert you to
I'm just
look at your chart.
sorry, Sean. This Sean.
Yes.
You said call levels. You said it's an app on your phone.
Yeah, it's an app you download on your phone.
Is it call levels?
It's called call levels.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's called call levels. I use that quite a bit. Yep. All right, so that's that, guys. So let's see. Oh, so that wasn't too bad. Let me see. So, okay, so here's an M pattern right there. That was right before us, right here. Oop. Came up, touch up, and then came down. You'll see that? Let me put that up.
Would German 30 be a W?
What's that now?
I asked, would German 30 be a W on a 4 hour?
You talking about like right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, M and W patterns appear on everything. Let me see, US 30.
German.
Oh, GR 30?
Uh-huh. Four?
Yeah. Yeah, you can use that. That's not perfect, but you see, and you could have entered right above this point here and continue up. Oops. Yep. See, so I had a support down here. It rejected twice down here, came up, bounced right off there, headed up to continue the trend. And also, I know for you, Fibonacci flips, you could put fibs on that too. That's kind of where like M and W's kind of come from. They kind of come from Fibonacci stuff. So I don't want to get too advanced on there, but if you were to throw your fibs on it, and for those of you who don't know, it's just a tool that's used to help confirm, you know, the trades, the pullbacks of the trades. All right, so erase that. Okay, let me move this out the way. All right, let's grab my fib tool. Where are we at? Oh, there we go. Fib retracement. I can go from here down here. Oops. Come on, fib. There you go. Sorry, guys, got to maneuver it just well. All right, so what happened is this first, it came down here, hit this first pullback. This first pullback, you see it came over the 0.618 area in between here. So that was a clue that it may be, you know, it may be going back, but then of course it pulled all the way back here to 100%, and then we would have waited. Obviously now, if you look at it on the second part, well over the 618 over here. This is for you, Fibonacci flips. This is confirmation that is headed back up because it passed the 618 area. Okay, and I know it's a little advanced. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to kind of touch base, but for those of you who are used to or curious about using a tool like this, that's what it does. That when it passes this middle 618, it's pretty much headed on its way up. So that's just another tool for you. Is Fibonacci. You go to the top of the trend going down. I came down to the bottom of the trend. We're measuring this pullback. It's over the 6.618 area, 61%. So that's a confirmation that lets us know that it's still headed on up. All right, Najee, that good for you?
Yes, sir.
All right, fantastic, cool. All right, guys, I know I threw a lot at you, but the whole premise of what I want you to get tonight from this, is to start training yourself to look for M's and W's and just test it while you're looking on your MetaTrader 4s. You know, that's what I do. Switch it to a line. So you come up here where your candles are. You have it on your MetaTrader 4 too. And you just hit the line. And it'll go here and you start saying, hey, well, where do I possibly see, you know, a high and a low, and is this forming a pattern? And you're not going to be perfect with it because it doesn't move exactly like a perfect W or M. But what you want to do is start just kind of looking at it. Just start getting your eyes used to it, because I had to get used to pullbacks and flags for a long time. And Stevenson Lindor, who was the teacher who taught me about naked trading, which means just looking at support and resistance and trend lines, I mean, for at least a couple of months, I had to get used to looking, and he would say, see it right there, see it right there. I'm like, no, I don't see it. What is you talking about? And then finally, it was like a light bulb. One day, it just was like, oh, now it makes sense. I see it. I don't know. He just did something in that particular class that had me, it just clicked. And that's why, guys, it's so important that you get into the education. That's why you watch the educators over and over again. You don't just watch them once, twice, 3 times and just think you got it. Okay, I got the strategy, that's it. No, I go back and I watch, because there's always some little intricate detail that helps me out with my trading that I pick up from one of the classes, or somebody asks a question and it clarifies something I was maybe fuzzy on, okay? And so that's why the value of the class works so well. And this is why a lot of people who aren't in IML, I'm sorry, IM Master Academy, excuse me, that aren't in IM Master Academy, they have a slower curve, a learning curve to catching on to trading because they don't have the systematic learning like we have. Just watching a few YouTube videos or just looking at baby pips, it'll get you started. That's why they made that site, guys. They made baby pips to help you get started. But really it helps when you're on a team like this, when you're when you're really kind of going through looking at the basics, and then you can kind of see things as it starts to come out. Okay, and that's why we drill on the basics every week, because as you use the harmonic scanner, as you use the vibrata, as you use the different pivots and all that, like pivots is made basically the pivots and levels are using M and W patterns. And so it kind of measures that if it goes in certain areas and turns around, the probability that it'll finish that M or W is what pivots and the other software that we have help you to find. Okay, so it tells you where your pivot points are. All right, here we're just looking at it at the naked eye. We're just trying to figure out ourselves, hey, you know, where do we see these M's and W's at? All right, so let's see. So this was one, even though this wasn't perfect. See, this is one with a lower second half here. Okay. And then, of course, it came down. Okay. And then, of course, you would put an entry somewhere below this point. Move it. Last one. Nope, I didn't want to move that one. Oh, yeah, that is the one I wanted. Okay. Let me move the chart. Yeah, see? So you would have entered somewhere over here, probably on this red candle right here. Let me put an arrow over it. He's like, where do I get in? Where do I get in? Could have got on this candle. Of course, it pulled back on you, but my stop loss is above, so I don't have to worry. And guess what? You would have caught all this right here. And that could have potentially been, let's just say if we entered here. Come on now, it's not acting right. Trying to get that. Come on, tool. Sorry, guys, it's not giving me the numbers I'm looking for, but I pretty much can tell. Let's see, 8552. So 522 points. Okay, so 50 pips roughly. Would it give you about 50, 60 pips? It was pips or 500 and something points. Okay, so not too bad. Just
Nice.
following the path. I'm sorry, what's that?
I said that's nice.
Mm-hmm. See, so that's just looking for the patterns. And so if you can mix this part, if you can mix looking for patterns and looking at your confirmation or looking at your indicators, you kind of have a good mix of looking at the trades, because the candles are in real time. So you're looking at the structure of the market, but then you're going to kind of think that other side of your brain here to analyze it with the indicators that you're using, whether it's the cloud, whether it's the BYOB, whether it's, you know, just using Hakanashi candles, whatever it is, you know, it still works the same because it's structure. And like I said, structure always trumps or goes over or has more validity than the indicators, because the indicators lag behind. Okay. And so that's why you kind of want to work on looking at these patterns. Okay. Again, Oren Wright, O-R-A-N Wright. He's in the IM Master Academy. You want to look at him. He actually, again, talks about the head and shoulders pattern, but it's based on kind of these patterns, these M and W patterns, just higher and lower. Okay. And so I really want you to start maybe looking at him, because now it just helps you to keep looking at patterns at the forefront of your mind as you're looking at trades. And again, guys, this is something that I'm doing too. I have to kind of go back and say, man, how did I miss that pattern? Well, I wasn't looking for it. Had I been looking for it, I probably could make more quality trades. And you don't need a lot of them. You don't need a lot of M's and W's. You only need a few out of a given day. Because every trade I've just about shown you was 50 plus pips. They were 50 to 100 pips by itself. Okay. So does anybody have any questions? I know that was some good information for the new people that are on. This is something that you'll get in time. Don't try to absorb it all at once, but you can mark it down on M's and patterns and start, when you're looking at a trade, trying to figure it out, start looking for that. Do I see an M pattern for me? Do I see a W? Well, let me see. Just let me see. Like even right where we're at right now, is this the start of an M pattern? It could be. Or is this the start of a W? I'm sorry, it could be a start of a W. I think that's what we were looking at. Hold on, who said that? Yeah, and this is GR30. So I could look at this and be like, I think we already talked about it, but I would look at it and be like, okay, here's a high point, coming to a low. That's cool. Come up here. Okay, that's cool. All right, came back down. Okay, that's cool. And, starting another point. There we go. All right, work with me. And say, that could be a potential point. And then, of course, I wouldn't enter until I passed the middle. And now, of course, I would check with my currency strength meter. I would kind of, just look at my structure. Is it gonna make it? Of course, I'm gonna pay attention, to it as far as it goes up to this bar, because it could complete that W right up here. So I do want to pay attention to these areas that it's turning around. But that's not bad. That's 14.8 pips. That could be, if you got a $10 per, it would be $150 right there. Okay. Cool. Anybody have any questions? I don't want to overload and blow circuits, but I just wanted to share that part. Anybody have any questions about the patterns? All right, Nikki, you're good. I saw that. All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good? All right, just another tool to put in your toolbox, guys. Just something to look at and, start trying to pick those out. And again, that could add a great deal of competency to your trading. Okay. Anybody got any comments about what you saw? I know, Yolanda, thank you for being on. I'm glad you're on. I know this may be a little over your head, but I promise you it comes in time as you continue to practice. But this is something that you can put on the side because I don't hear a lot of educators that are in the I Am Master Academy that are talking about the pattern as much, but it was something that I learned very early on. And it was just something I took for granted. I didn't really pay attention to it. And then over the past day, I started, as I thought about doing this class, I started looking for the patterns, and that's where I was able to put that trade in that I told you for 92 pips. That was I think that was the M pattern I had looked at, or no, it was a W pattern that I looked at, and I was like, oh, this one looks like it could be a good potential, buy right here. Let me jump in and grab some pips out of that. Okay. Any questions? Nope. Any comments? Did you guys kind of get it?
Yeah.
Yep, it was very helpful. Thanks, Shawn.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, guys, again, thank you for being on. David, what did you get from being on tonight and stuff? I know it's a lot of information, but I just want to kind of get your opinion. David and Tam. David still there? Sitting there? Well, I will say he's watching the game. Can't watch a game because there ain't no games on. CJ, brother CJ, great to see you. Janice, thank you for being on. Asia, Robin, thanks for being. Jay Patterson, thank you. Larry, good. All right, great. Well, guys, I'm not going to hold you. Thank you for being on tonight. Again, we're going to be here again Monday night, again next week. Okay, not a problem, Yolanda, got you. Yeah, we'll be here every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Standard Eastern Time. Again, you feel free to invite guests on to kind of see how we trade and what we're drilling on. But again, get into your I Am Mastery Academy. Do not take any of those videos for granted, guys. It is a plethora of information and is going to help you become a better trader. Practice in your demo. You know, I'm working with Celestine and Yolanda and other people, and it's they're like, hey, you know, Shawn is having us do 100 trades. The reason why you want to do 100 trades in your demo is because guess what? You start to get the fear, you know, taken care of. You start to get your strategy down pat. You get to make the tweaks that you want to make, and you get to lose less money starting off. Okay, by practicing in your demo. So I'm always going to drill that into you guys to practice in that demo. And if you feel like your trading game is off, guess what? Don't give up. Don't walk away, kick the tire of your car and start cussing and stuff. Go back to your demo. Go back and practice your demo. Go back to the basics. And that's why I drill on the basics. Am I doing my confirmations? Am I doing support and resistance? Am I now looking for my patterns in the market? You know, maybe I might want to try a different indicator. Let me find out. And then if you're still having problems with your trade, put it out in the group, guys. That's why we have the Telegram group. So, you know, sometimes if you're not sure about the trade, put it out there. Hey guys, I'm looking at USD JPY for a sell. What do you guys think? And that's the kind of interaction that I want, so that you guys can confirm each other. Just think how many more trades we win if I have, you know, how many people on here? 19 people. I have 19 eyes looking at a particular trade, and we're confirming, yeah, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. Well, guess what? Now you're getting your money. And at the end of the day, that's what really counts, is that you guys are becoming profitable traders. Okay? That's all I got. Thank you so much, guys. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate your support. And again, let's continue growing the Team Wealth Builders and sharing this information. And I will see you